Hey, welcome back to Star Rock, where it's always about rock music. In this and next week's videos, I will tell you about my all-time top 10 bands. These are the bands that have had the largest impact on my musical tastes, my bass playing, my singing, songwriting, and performance styles. These are my greatest musical heroes, the ones that I look up to most, and ultimately the reasons why that I not only became a musician, but continue to pursue my musical career. It is because of these rock groups that you even see me here. I hope that you're not mad at them. So in descending order, here are numbers 10 through 6. Of the many things that I love from Germany, Wiener Schnitzel and Halloween are at the very top. Formed in the mid-1980s, they are often rightfully referred to as the fathers of power metal. I first heard Halloween watching some of their music videos on MTV's Headbangers Ball and was pleasantly surprised to see one of their songs featured in Beavis and Butthead. Oh, yeah, it was cool. A couple of years later, during my formative period as a musician, a close friend reintroduced them to me by blasting the first two Keeper of the Seven Key albums, and I was never the same. What I love about Halloween is the fact that they take all the best elements of medieval themed metal, the musicianship of progressive rock, long epic songs, and pretty much inject them with steroids. The reason why you almost never see Halloween tribute bands isn't because nobody likes them, it's because their material is so advanced that most people can't even cover them. My star picks for Halloween are I'm Alive, Halloween,
It's Halloween. It's Halloween. Tonight.
and I Want Out. In the subgenre of progressive metal, Fates Warning are considered one of the big three, and as such has played a large part in driving and shaping it without compromise. Although I knew of Fates Warning for years before, having also seen them on MTV's Headbangers Ball, it wasn't until they released the concept album A Pleasant Shade of Grey that I gave them a fair shake. I had read that the album featured keyboardist Kevin Moore, who had just left Dream Theater, another of the big three, and knew that I had to get it. One listen of that masterpiece made me a fan for life. Something that I truly enjoy about Fates Warning's music is that I am often taken on some kind of journey, both thematically and in terms of how complex their music is. And although they place lower on this list than the remaining big three, I do consider them to be the very epitome of prog rock and directly responsible for the explosion of progressive rock bands to follow during the 1990s and early 2000s. My star picks for Fates Warning are Outside Looking In,
Running tired, tortured and cold, outside looking in, clawing away these open scars to heal the wounds within.
Pieces of Me,
Everywhere I look, as far as I can see, broken promises, pieces of me, pieces of me, pieces of me.
and A Pleasant Shade of Grey, as in the whole damn album. The most famous of the big three of progressive metal are the Seattle area formed, Grammy Award winning Queensryche. Like most people, I didn't even know who Queensryche were until they started winning Grammys and having their music videos plastered all over MTV in the early 1990s. Just from what I saw there and having their hit album Empire was enough to make me think that they were awesome. But then I started to collect their back catalog and discovered how awesome they really are. While Queensryche is really the least progressive metal sounding band among their peers, their musical prowess and subtle complexities makes them just as formidable and important as the rest. What I find particularly charming about their works is how they manage to make metal music that is sophisticated, powerful, and classy. Anyone who's ever been to a Queensryche concert knows exactly what I'm talking about. My star picks for Queensryche are Walk in the Shadows,
I'll take you home. We'll walk in the shadows.
Jet City Woman, and Eyes of a Stranger.
And I raise my head and stare into the eyes of a stranger. I've always known that the mirror never lies.
Finishing off the big three of progressive metal, Dream Theater is very much regarded as the musicians' musicians. These former Berklee School of Music students represent what all rock musicians aspire to be. Each member being a virtuoso at his respective craft, they come together to create music that is as infinitely inspiring as it is perpetually frustrating. Dream Theater's music has become so synonymous with advanced complexity that when one wants to describe a really hard song to learn, they may utter the phrase, "It's like trying to learn Dream Theater." Any guesses to where I first encountered Dream Theater's music? If you guessed anything other than MTV's Headbangers Ball, then you haven't been paying attention. Set this video to repeat play and then try again. I first heard Take the Time and legitimately thought that it was a commercial to one of those music colleges and had said, hey, that would make a pretty cool video for MTV. Their popularity started growing rather quick, so it didn't take long before I saw a few other videos and decided that this band was on a whole other level than most of what is out there. While there is much that can be said about Dream Theater that has been said so many times by everyone who has ever spoken about them, I will tell you what I find the most fascinating. The level of musicianship is so epic that non-musicians think that they are great. People who should not be able to follow what they are doing are in awe of them. I have more than a handful of friends who don't even like heavy metal, much less progressive heavy metal, who love them. I have a friend who is not a metalhead that went with me to a concert where Dream Theater opened up for Iron Maiden, and she literally said, Iron Maiden was excellent, but Dream Theater was better. Wow. My star picks for Dream Theater are Caught in a Web,
Caught in a web, moved from the world, hanging on by a thread, spent my life devised in my head.
Beyond This Life,
I feel there's only one thing left to do. I'd sooner take my life away than live with losing you.
and Pull Me Under. Anybody who is anybody has heard of Judas Priest. Even if you don't know who the members are or are unable to name a single song, you still know that Judas Priest is the heavy metal band. And while the aforementioned may be true of some people, I can say with much confidence that whether they realize it or not, they know a couple of their songs, even if they don't know that it's them specifically. Judas Priest are among the earliest of the new wave of British heavy metal that took the world by storm and are responsible for either inventing or making popular the common tropes associated with mainstream heavy metal. From the thundering drums, the squealing guitar solos, the fast-paced sonic assault, right up to the heavy metal screams. If it doesn't sound like, or at least been influenced by Priest, it's probably wrong. The most standout trait to me about Judas Priest is that they constantly reinvent themselves throughout their career, having basically written and recorded all styles of rock and metal music and nailed it every time. My star picks for Judas Priest are Victim of Changes,
Risky woman, don't you know that you are driving me insane?
The Sentinel, and Painkiller. So that's the bottom 5 of my top 10 bands. I've dropped links into the description box below for key releases for each one. Come back next week for my top 5. Thank you so much for watching Starr Rock. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and stalk. Laters.